there's always the hope. There's always the possibility that tomorrow's going to be better. There's always the hope, always the possibility that things are going to change and that they can't change without understanding, without empathy, without understanding, without communication, and without grace. That's how things get better. Hello and welcome back to the Two is Greater podcast, where we share our experience with all the ups and the downs of working together without killing each other.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. I'm your co-host.
Oh, I'm the co-host.
I'm your host, Tyler Henson. This is my lovely co-host and wife and business partner, Jackie Henson.
Hello.
I really built you up there and you just...
Oh,
hello.
Ta-da! Is that better?
Yeah, that's way better.
Bring the energy.
All right, Jackie Lynn, are you ready?
I'm ready. What am I ready for?
You're on the hot seat.
Again?
We got some questions submitted.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm
got
ready.
some questions submitted here. Oh, well, it's good discussion.
Okay. All right. I can do this.
So we didn't get a recording on this one, but Tess is an awesome listener.
Yes.
One of our biggest fans. She writes in all the time, and we just need to show her some love. Thank you so much, Tess, for listening.
Yes.
For those of you that are new with us, we come out with a new episode every other Tuesday. So just remember us when it gets ready for tacos every other Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Two is Greater podcast.
Woohoo.
So thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us a good rating. And we also love hearing from you. So Tess says, Jackie, I'm also an Enneagram 9. We got an Enneagram question.
Yeah.
One of our first Enneagram questions. Jackie, I'm also an Enneagram 9. Feel like we are two peas in a pod.
Yes, girl.
What are some ways? Oh, okay. What are some ways you've tackled procrastination and laziness, especially in your faith?
Oh, no. Okay. Well, good questions.
Now, I want to say, I don't think she expects you to have the answer to this. I hope not.
Okay, good. I really hope not. I don't feel like...
I would encourage you to not feel any pressure by that.
Okay.
And just share your experience.
All right. Okay, yeah. I have a really hard time when it comes to procrastination with everything. So I'm currently
I'll vouch for that.
behind on a lot of stuff.
I'll vouch for that too.
Laundry, work stuff, house cleaning, like it doesn't matter. I procrastinate. When it comes to my faith, I've had to like really get.
Let's just talk about ways that you've tackled procrastination and laziness all together first, and then we'll step into directly about your faith. So what's some things that you've done? I know
You know
that there has not been a transformation in that, but
no.
I know you're working on it. So just share your struggle with that and share some things that you're trying to do, that things that might have helped you or things that haven't helped you. So let's just start from the beginning. So, why do you feel like you struggle with procrastination? This is clearly a 9 thing.
It is.
But why do you feel like you struggle with procrastination and laziness? Why do you feel like you do that? And you can't say I'm an Enneagram 9. No. Why?
It's easier to not do anything. It's if I don't do anything, like if I procrastinate work, then there's no chance that there will be conflict. There's no chance that I will upset you if I don't do a task.
Or there's 100% chance that you'll upset me.
Well, see, and that's why it's
you leave me hanging.
It's a trick. In my head, it makes sense that it's okay, well, that stresses me out. I'll do it later. I'll handle that later. It's fine. I'll just do this right now.
So you feel like it's like an inner peace thing. Like it's something stresses you out, so you avoid it. It's not so much conflict. It's more it's stress, internal.
Yes, it's internal stress. If there's a work task that I need to get done that needs to be a particular way, or it requires a lot of creativity, because I don't consider myself a very creative person. If something requires a lot of me, mentally, I will put it off. I'll put it off as long as I possibly can
until. And why do you think that is?
I think it's in an effort to like try and maintain my inner peace, because if I don't do it, then I don't have to think about it and it doesn't bother me. It's one of those like out of sight, out of mind things, which stinks, because the truth of the matter is, if I were to just bite the bullet and get it done, it really wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I hate that.
So what are some things you think that you've, been trying to do to help with that?
Honestly, I've been trying to just stay focused on a task and complete it to the end. Because a lot of times I'll get started with a task like laundry, for example. I can wash and dry laundry, but then folding it or hanging it up and putting it away, it just seems so overwhelming. But like, if I were to just do that, then like the task would be done and it wouldn't weigh on me, which of course it'll come up again next week, but it wouldn't weigh on me. So I've been challenging myself to, once I start a task, I need to complete it. So anything I can do to not get distracted from that task from start to finish has helped me a lot. So with laundry, like if I can put on a TV show, then I can kind of zone out and I can get the laundry done and I've watched TV, whatever. If I'm sitting down at the desk doing work, I actually found dark noise that plays in my headphones through the accessibility setting on my iPhone. So I put it on, I've got noise canceling, and it's just like this static noise kind of that plays in the background. And it is just enough to keep my mind focused. Like I can tune that out and it keeps my mind focused on whatever I'm doing on my computer. I cannot explain that one, but it helps me focus.
Why do you think that is?
If I have dead silence, my mind just kind of wanders.
Yeah.
So like I need something to kind of keep my brain stimulated just enough to where I don't get distracted.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Yeah. That dark noise is nice. I like it. It sounds like being in an airplane or like being in a car. I like it.
I feel like you're getting a little distracted right now. So it seems like though that, like you were talking about with the laundry, it seems like you were talking about not just finishing something, but actually like taking a large task and making it, bite size, or putting it into sections and then completing those sections.
Yes.
Like, I know you didn't really like articulate that, but like kind of what I was picking up on, it's like, it wasn't necessarily about, oh, well, I start laundry and I finish laundry. It's not, instead of thinking of laundry as a whole, it's more like, washing and drying is one section and then folding and hanging is another.
Right.
And it's like, rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to make sure there's not one piece of dirty clothes left in the house, I'm not going to stop until that's the case. It's more like, I have all these clothes that need to be folded and I'm going to make sure that they get folded. And it's not, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that more like what you're saying? Like you make it into sections and focus on completing the section.
Yeah. As opposed to being so overwhelmed by this large pile or this large task that has to get complete. Yeah. You make it into smaller pieces.
So do you feel like you feel like a little bit more accomplished when you do it that way?
Oh, 1000%.
Yeah.
So
rather than like the chaos of just like working toward it and then stopping and working on something else and just getting, partial progress towards all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I feel like anybody could learn from that. Like, I feel like, not necessarily an Enneagram 9 type thing, but like, I feel like most people have a struggle with finishing things and staying on task.
Yeah. It's comforting to know that that's not just a 9 thing and that I'm not alone though, because
the procrastination thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that's part of why I procrastinate, because it seemed like the task seems so overwhelming when, like you said, if I can break it down into smaller pieces and like do a little piece at a time, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Little mile markers or little progress, checkpoints.
Yeah, definitely.
That you can hit and then you can always go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So what's some things that you think you might have tried that didn't work?
Well,
Everything.
everything.
Everything else.
Creating a list is helpful, but it doesn't always help, if that makes any sense. So like
No, it doesn't.
it helps me a little bit because I can kind of clear up my mind, so I'm not like constantly turning on like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Oh yeah, don't forget I have to do this. I need to do that. So instead of having this like list of this to-do list constantly running in my mind, if I can write it all down, then it's easier for me to, complete a task like start to finish. What has helped is putting subtasks under there. So like in the notes app, or in the reminders app, that's what it is. In the reminders app in my phone, I'll put a big task and then it's like, okay, if I need to complete this project, then I need to do A, B, and C. So it's like that.
Like if you're helping like design and like get ready for, like we have a new project, like, Willow Grove subdivision.
Yeah.
And we have to, create a new sign, for the front of the subdivision, not just our little, each individual signs for each like lot and home listing or whatever, our real estate yard signs, but like a large sign for the development.
It is a giant sign. It's like 4 foot by 7 foot.
So that's like one large project. So like you would break that down how? I
would break that down into like, so I need to design the sign. I need to call and get quotes for people to print the sign and install it. But, well, let me back up, because if I'm going to design the sign, then I need to have an idea of what it looks like. So I also need to kind of get some inspiration. So it's like get inspiration, gather
your assets, the digital assets.
And then design it and then get quotes for it. It's kind of, so like breaking down the steps.
And then get it done.
Yeah, well, but then it's like once you
execute,
once you execute and put it all together, then it's like, oh, well, I've got this big project that seemed so overwhelming and now it's not so bad because I did it in tiny bites. Check it off the list.
So then what doesn't work? Like what have you tried? What have you tried that just doesn't work? Just flat out like this doesn't work for me. Like it just doesn't help. Or you just don't stick with it. And because of that, it doesn't help.
Setting a time limit on stuff like that did not help me.
You just don't care.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I just need more time. Like this is going to
always need more time.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you always procrastinate, you put everything off till the end, then it doesn't really matter when the end is. You're just going to keep putting it on.
Yeah. So, but it's also
you
like.
always give yourself an extension.
Yeah. I will always give myself an extension. That's exactly
Interesting. All right. So what about in your faith? Like I could see how this could definitely be an issue, just with procrastination and laziness. Yeah. And, that's what Tess was really asking is, especially in your faith. So like, let's look at like, your faith journey, how that looks like, just talk to us about that. Like how has that been a factor?
Yes, this is about to get really real. I, for a long time, did not spend time in my Bible or spend time praying. At the start of this year, we did 14 days at our church of prayer and fasting. And I truly believe that it has changed my life. Like, I know that those are bold words, but we woke up every morning at 5:30 and literally just like got dressed and ran out the door. And we were there from 6 to 7 and spent time just praying. It was literally just an hour of prayer and they had worship music playing. And like, I felt like I could actually connect. I wasn't worried about trying to get through all of the chapters that day that I needed to read so that I could read the Bible in 1 year, which I tried that and it took me 2 years. It took me 2 years. It was so overwhelming. And it was so like, I just felt like I couldn't keep up. Like there was no way to keep up with the amount of chapters. It just was so overwhelming to me. I would not do it because it felt so overwhelming, which is why it took me so long. Is that the same with like the 30 days of living center? Okay. Oh, you're going to bring that up too? Okay, sure. So I started that too. And I'm still not done with it. I'm only halfway through. It's been over a year. Over a year. And it's 30 days of living center. Okay, but they tell you, like when you start it, that this might take a little longer because you're diving deep into your emotions, which is very difficult for me. But I have definitely put it off. Yeah. I've definitely put it off. Okay, well, we're just going to make me feel real self-conscious today. It's good. You weren't kidding about being on the hot seat.
Hot seat.
Hot seat.
Come on.
Anyway, so about my faith, like, honestly, just starting that helped me feel a lot better. Like, you and I went together to prayer and fasting every morning, and it's like just being in the presence of God made me feel comfortable. I felt like I was actually able to hear from God, and that has made me want to do it more.
Come on.
That has made me want to do it more. And like, it's so freaking exciting to me. It's silly. And like, I know, like I've heard so many people talk about this before, like just being in God's presence is going to change your life. And I'm like, okay, God, just change your life, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but no, like that is really the truth here. And I just like, I feel that, and it makes me want to continue on. And I actually like prayed that I prayed to God because I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to continue this habit. I was like, God, what if this 14 days ends and then I just never see you anymore? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I want to keep this up. Like, I want to have this constant communication with God at all times. And like, I feel like I just had this encounter where I don't want to stop it anymore. And I'm like, that is more powerful to me than this drive of wanting to stay in bed. So like, I want to, whether it wakes you up or not, I'm really sorry we haven't talked about this, but I want to set an alarm on my watch that wakes me up where I can get up and just spend at least half an hour with the Lord, because like starting my day there helps me feel more productive. I feel like that is the hardest thing I'm going to do all day. I know that sounds crazy, that it's really difficult to spend time with your creator, but like, that's the hardest thing, because it's like, oh, well, God's with me all day. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I can just do it later. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah.
But then you go 6 months.
It's just surrendering that time.
Yes.
Right. It's giving that up completely.
It is.
Because you can't do anything else at all whatsoever. No distractions, no nothing.
Absolutely. And I've had to pray away distractions in the middle of that too, because my brain starts to turn with, okay, this is what's happening today. This is what we need to get done. Don't forget this. Don't forget this. And I'm like, no, I need, like, God, clear my mind, please, because I just want to hear from you right now. Yeah.
And, good habit to start on that too is like when those thoughts start entering, just write them down. Like if it's stuff you need to do or stuff you haven't done yet or something, stuff that you're worried about, just write it down. Like stop, write it down, and then just move on. Just dump it out of your brain. And that way, and like just let it go once you write it down or type it out in your notes in your phone, just let it out. And it's like, all right, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. Because now I won't forget.
Wrote down and I'll go back to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. So, well, that's awesome.
It's very exciting.
It is exciting. I can tell. You're excited. That's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. I'm pumped about it.
Well, it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
So this one is actually for me.
What?
Yeah.
No. You give tough questions.
It's on the top, it's on the topic. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is all written in here. She wrote this in here. Tyler, what are some ways you help support Jackie's growth? And how have y'all helped each other in that respect?
Oh.
So I will say, I don't know how much it's helped, but one thing is that Jackie is difficult at making decisions.
Yes.
Very difficult.
I have a really tough time making decisions.
And it's just little decisions. Like it's everything. Like it's not just like, oh, I have trouble making big decisions, because everybody's like, oh yeah, well, I have trouble making decisions too. No. It's like everything. It's not just dinner. It's like what TV show we're going to watch, what movie, like
what lotion I should buy.
Like literally everything. And so, one thing that I've been able to do is like narrow it down to options. Mm-hmm. And then encourage, Jackie to just make the decision and be okay with it, because her whole thing is like inner peace. And so I know that like part of that is I feel like, with you, that part of that is like, you don't want to make the decision for me and for us and me not like it.
Oh, 1000%.
But also, I think that you have this fear that you're not going to like it.
Yeah, and then if we both don't like it, then I made that decision myself.
No, I think it's still a lot of it is like you don't want to like with a movie. Like, I do know you think about me, but I also think that you put a lot of pressure on yourself because it's like we don't really sit down to watch a lot of movies. Like, I mean, not that we just don't watch much TV, but like it's usually bite size. So like we'll watch a show here or there, maybe a couple shows, but like dedicating like 2.5 hours, which is what movies are now, to like sitting down and watching something solid, uninterrupted. Usually we have to stop and, send some emails or respond to text or calls or whatever, and that's because we want to. It's not because, we could set that boundary, but it's just anything that we put off then still has to be done, right? So it's better just to go ahead and just do that. Anyway, totally different topic, but so we don't carve out a lot of time to watch movies. Maybe like a Saturday night, or something like that. And so I think that you put this pressure on yourself.
Yeah,
I feel like you put this pressure on. It's like, I don't want to pick this movie and it be a bad movie when we don't watch many movies, and it's like a waste, and you feel like it's a waste.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, but then there's no way for you to actually know if that movie's going to be, if there's going to be good or not.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no way to know if that movie's going to be good or not until you've watched it.
Right.
Because you can get somebody else's opinion, but it's still somebody else's opinion. And definitely see you do that with food a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like you don't want to risk it. Like, we're going to eat at this restaurant. You want to make sure. So a lot of times I've seen you follow my lead and just order a bunch of stuff. And it's like, it's okay if we don't eat it all. We'll just take it home or we'll give it to somebody that's going to enjoy it or whatever. But so what I've done is I try to narrow it down, try to make suggestions, and not try to steer you by making those suggestions, but just like, I guess, asking questions like, what kind of movie are you in the mood for? Yeah. Are you in the mood for a comedy, or you want to see some action or whatever, whatever is on the table? It's like, thinking through that decision, helping you explore that decision rather than kind of steering you the direction that I want you to go. Cause I feel like, in your past, you've kind of had some experience with that. Yeah. And definitely. there's no growth in that. You're still just trying to please everyone and keep peace rather than kind of making a decision for yourself and just being okay with it. All right. Because I battle with the same thing, and I understand it because I battle with making decisions too, but it's for a different way. Like, I don't want to make the wrong decision, but it don't have to do with like inner peace. It's because I don't want to hear my inner critic talking back. Yeah. That's awful. Yeah. And so I understand that. And so, I try to make decisions like, help you make decisions about like, what about this or this? Yeah. Yeah. You kind of narrow it down for me, which helps a lot. And one thing I've done more recently is I've asked you to narrow it down. You know what? I've noticed that. Have you? Yes. Because I was literally just thinking when you said movies, you give me options. I was like, here lately, I've been giving myself options. And then I was like, how did we get there? How did I start doing that? And then you just said, I've been having you narrow it down. I'm like, oh my God, you like inceptioned me. No. Like to narrow it down for myself. That is way overused. You do not. No. I feel tricked. Tricked? Do you feel tricked? No. It's good. It's good for me to narrow it down. You. Yeah, it's very helpful. I give you practice narrowing it down by like giving you options, and then I give you way more options, and then ask you to narrow those down to 3 and then to 2. And then I usually end up picking one. Maybe. Sometimes you pick. Yeah. Yeah, which is very helpful. Well, and then just other things, it's like, I don't know, helping you stay on task. I think I'm the one that helped you with that, breaking things down into like subtasks. You definitely did. I mean, you showed me how to work that in the reminders app. Well, but just, that's something I've learned too, because again, I as a type 1, I battle with procrastination too.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like laziness.
Interesting.
But I don't feel lazy. I don't want to do it because I don't want to.
You don't want to mess it up?
Well, it's one of those things where like, if I can't do it all the way, if I can't go all in and do it to the, most perfect way, then I don't want to do it. Like I can't like just do it part of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I literally can't just, like I couldn't put the dishes away, which I do it wrong according to you. But like,
you just put them in the dishwasher wrong.
I couldn't put the dishes in the dishwasher and not like clean the sink until it's like polished and spotless.
Oh.
Like I just, like I feel like I have to do that, and that's just like a small example. But so, for a long time, I really struggled with having this large thing and like even starting it because like I don't have the time or I don't have the bandwidth to go all the way here. So I'll just wait until I have time to do that. And I never do.
Interesting.
Or I'll wait until I have the energy, or I'll wait until I have the focus, to give this my full attention like it needs. And then I'll never get there. Like I'll never feel that way. Right. It's like if we wait to feel motivated, we'll never do anything, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just, motivation's not an emotion that just comes and goes. Like we actually have to start. But that was something that helped me, that I was able to pass along. It was like, hey, do this in sections.
Yeah.
Like, because you've got to get all this done, but like there's steps to this, and if you see the steps, then you can get to the step and you can stop and be okay with that.
Yeah.
Right, be okay with being, part of the way done, because like we talked about, you hit those checkpoints.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been able to help that way, and I just try to be as supportive as I can and understanding, right? And that's really what we talk about so much about this enneagram thing is, yes, self-awareness, but also understanding.
Yeah.
Right? It guides us toward empathy and understanding like where people are coming from, why they feel this way, why Jackie struggles to make decisions. Like if I understand why she struggles to make decisions, like she had just told me about, then I can be a better support system for her in guiding her on making more decisions, and knowing that it's healthy for her, to be guided and be supported while she makes decisions, rather than just forced into making decisions, like it or not, like you're going to decide for us, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like creating a safe space almost for me to make a decision.
Don't even say it that way.
I love you.
But, just being, supportive and encouraging, I think is the biggest thing, and not just continuing to facilitate that. Right. Yeah. It's not, and that's what it's all about, really, to me. And, easy for me to say, right? The improver. To always be improving. But that's what the Enneagram is about. It's not permission to stay where you are and expect everyone to cater to you because you should understand me better now. It's so that we can all grow together. Yeah. That's 100% what it is. Yeah. And it's like, if Jackie understands me, then she knows how she can better support me. She knows like when I'm battling with criticism, that's not really the greatest time to give me negative feedback.
Yeah, I'm really bad about that.
Or just positive reinforcement in that time, or see the brighter side, right? Yeah. A lot of times that's the thing. It's like, I could be in the middle of just, grinding through this, moment of criticism, and she can come in and just share the bright side of it. And it's like, Jackie, that's not what we need here right now.
You always tell me that too. You're like, just no. Not right now. I'm like, well, okay, sorry.
But you understand now where I'm coming from, where like in the past, if you didn't really understand that's how my brain works and that's what's going on in that moment, because I didn't know how to communicate that, because I didn't know what was going on. So I guess that's, answering our second part of that question, like how we helped each other in that aspect, is just understanding, right? Empathy is a superpower, like, and it's starting to catch on mainstream. Thank goodness. Woo! Gary Vee is starting to talk about it a lot, just having empathy and having empathy as a leader. And it's like, what's crazy to me is like, if you're a Christian leader, a leader that is a Christian and leading off of, biblical principles, like you've been leading with empathy for years, but this is really starting to trickle into mainstream, like leadership teachings and, influential type of people. And it's like empathy is really where it's at. It's like, how are we going to go anywhere together if we don't understand each other?
Mm-hmm.
If we and if communication is key, then what's the key to communication? Well, it's understanding, right? Because there's two parts to communication. Communication is not how we speak, right? That's only half of it. Like, communication is speaking and then hearing or understanding on the other side of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have the responsibility as the communicator, to make sure that to help do everything that we can to make sure the person that we're communicating to or the people that we're communicating to hears and understands what we're saying. But on the other side, like we also have a responsibility as the listener to try to hear and understand what's being told. And so empathy has got to be on both sides.
Yeah.
Empathy absolutely has to be on both sides of that in order for that communication to actually be effective and take place. And so I just don't think there's any way to actually lead without leading with empathy. And that goes for our families. That goes for our marriages with kids, with, leading in our business, everything. It goes into everything, and any kind of communication. It's going to require that empathy. And that's really at the heart of how we've been able to help each other, is really just looking for ways to help each other.
Yeah.
It's not, and like we have little specific things, but like that's what's most important is not necessarily the things that we do, right? The little techniques, the little strategies that we do. It's our intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And typically we'll say, that our intentions really mean nothing, right? Because we judge ourselves off of our intentions and we judge everyone else based off of our actions or off of their actions. But if our intentions lead to action, then that's what's most important, because we can give each other grace and we can figure it out as we go, as long as we're giving and receiving feedback. And that's another, key part too. So it's like, number one is having empathy, being willing to understand, and then, being willing to work together in that. But number two is going to be giving each other grace and understanding that it's a process. And we're learning as we go, that nobody has it figured out. We don't have this thing figured out. We are two unique individuals that, there's other people that are similar to us, but there's no other you. There's no other Tyler. There's no other Jackie. Like, we are our own individual person. And so there's no playbook for being able to figure that out. And it's constantly changing. That's the bad part, or, that's the struggle, is that it's constantly changing also, because we're constantly growing or digressing, or, maybe we're stressed, maybe we're growing, but we're having a stressful week. And so we'll pull back a little bit, and there's no playbook for that. Mm-hmm. It's all about showing each other grace and understanding that Tyler's been doing so good about this, but you know what? This week he's just really sucked, and he's kind of been a little harsh, and it's just understanding that, hey, what else is going on? What else is going on around him? What else has happened? Why is maybe this week a little bit different? Is it because he's a jerk, or is it because he's stressed out and he's got a lot going on? And then if that's the case, then like, how can I support that? Like, how can I let that go? Too, is like letting that go. And it's like, same thing with Jackie. It's like, hey,
you help me with that a lot.
What's going on here? Like, this is outside the norm. Like, help me understand. Are you really stressed? Like, what's happening? And then just being able to let go. And I think that understanding And that is that key to empathy, because it's a lot easier to forgive someone and to let things go when we understand where they're coming from, when we understand what they're struggling with, and that it's not about us. It's not about how they're treating us. It's they're treating us this way because they don't realize it, because internally they've got a fire they're trying to put out and they don't know how they're doing it, and they're just running on autopilot. And we've got to be able to understand that, and we've got to be able to give them grace in order to keep moving forward and keep making progress toward helping each other and growing together and doing this thing together.
Mic drop. I mean, whoa. That's like our whole life, like right there.
Yeah.
Working together.
It really is, and just understanding, and knowing that it's just constant. It's never, don't let it stress you out. Don't let it freak you out that like it's not going to end, because sometimes it can feel overwhelming to think, all right, this thing is not going to end. But like we were talking about, checkpoints, progress. Yeah. Progress is the goal, progress and working toward it, and being okay with things going a little backwards a little bit. Don't get frustrated. That's not the end. That's the thing that we've got to understand, is that every day feels like this is the end or this is forever.
Yeah.
And it's never the case. Today is just today. Like there's no, we think, oh, how this person is today is like, oh, this is how they are. This is who they are. And this is not going to end. And it's never going to get any better. Mm-hmm. But that's just today. That's all it is. It's just today. How that person is today is just how they are today. There's always the hope. There's always the possibility that tomorrow's going to be better. There's always the hope, always the possibility that things are going to change, and that they can't change without understanding, without empathy, without understanding, without communication, and without grace. That's how things get better.
Ooh.
Well,
I don't even know how to follow that. I don't even know what to even say now.
I just got in the zone, baby.
In the zone, son.
But I mean, honestly, I believe in this stuff. I'm really, really passionate about this stuff, because it's really what it's all about is, just doing this thing together and figuring it out.
And I'll say that to any other struggling 9, if your partner is willing to be empathetic with you and walk you through stuff like that, and just honestly be with you in it, it helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do this alone, and that's what this whole thing is about.
That's what this podcast is about.
2 is Greater podcast.
Look at because that.
We cannot do this alone. Anyway, that's a great stopping point for today. Thank you so much for listening. It has been awesome. I want to thank all of you who just continue to listen and give us so much love and support and encouragement. It means the absolute world for us to continue to share our experience and share, the things that we work through and, perfect or not or whatever, still working through. But just starting those conversations has been amazing. Anyway, thanks again for listening. I'm your host, Tyler Henson. This is my co-host, Jackie Henson.
Me.
My beautiful bride, my business partner, co-host for life. But anyway, thanks so much. Once again, this is the 2 is Greater podcast, where we share our experience with all the ups and the downs of working together without killing each other.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Until next time.
Woo! See ya.